till 1. Around this time each and every week, we like chatting local gigs and the Perth gig scene. And a man that
helps us do that is Taz from Giglist, giglist.com.au, gigs analyst. He joins me now. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bodie. How are you doing?
I am very well. Now, talk to me all things Giglist. What is happening in the local scene this week?
Quite a lot. This week we really have got a super busy week, actually. I had a quick look on Giglist, and I've noticed that tonight, the Tuesday night, really packed out, which is good to see. So we have actually this week in general, we've got quite a few touring artists coming through town. So I do love my live local music, but it's also good to kind of point out the touring artists so we know what's passing through our little town, I guess. So tonight we've got Teddy Swims. So Teddy Swims is touring through. He's an American artist. Teddy has Mia Ray supporting him, who is a Melbourne artist. So they're touring around Australia at the moment. Teddy is absolutely blowing up. He does like a pop, soul, hip-hop, R&B type style vocals. So Teddy is tonight at the Astor Theatre at 8 o'clock p.m. In Mount Lawley with Mia Ray from Melbourne. So that'd be quite a massive show, that one. Wednesday, we something that I thought the Heritage FM audience might maybe appreciate. We have actually a Prince tribute at the Mojo Bar, North Fremantle.
Yep.
So Prince tribute, Mojo's Bar, North Fremantle, 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Speaking of touring artists, we've actually got 3 shows of the same performance. So they've booked 3 nights in a row at the Perth Concert Hall. So 7:30 p.m. Thursday, Friday and Saturday night, we have Birds of Tokyo with Weso, basically adding their magic to the Birds of Tokyo songs. So 3 consecutive nights of that. Oh, it'll be perfect, you know. The sort of pop structure songs, but with very strong sort of melodic focus. I think they really lend themselves to having a symphony orchestra sort of complementing it quite well.
Ian Kenny's voice just goes off. Good band.
Classic. And, Thursday, Friday and Saturday night, that's Birds of Tokyo with Weso at the Concert Hall, all 3 nights. So you've got 3 chances to catch them, 7:30 each night. So that obviously needs a mention.
Yep.
Now, Thursday night, I've got a local show that I wanted to mention, though. So Lyrics Underground at Lyric Lane in Maylands, which I personally think is an awesome venue. We've got a pretty cool little lineup of 3 bands. So it's not a massive show, but the headlining act is Sky Machine. So Sky Machine are like I guess I would say like a jazz rock fusion type band. So it's like very upbeat, very sort of technical yet groovy and kind of fun. They have an interesting lineup of guitar, drum, bass, keys, and a saxophone player. Sky Machine, they're actually at Lyrics Underground, 7 o'clock Thursday with support from Vibe and the Dan Garner Trio.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Friday night, I've got a fair bit to talk about actually, and not enough time. So to narrow it down, Friday night, there's a particular show that I'm going to be going to. I've mentioned these boys to you quite a few times now, actually. So Art of Dysfunction. Art of Dysfunction, they've been gigging around Perth for roughly about 3 to 4 years now. And they actually haven't put out any releases physically yet. So they've released a couple singles to the streaming services. But after about 3 to 4 years of gigging, they've actually done quite a lot of gigging too. Like they tend to gig quite frequently. They do multiple shows some weekends. They've really honed their craft. So they're like a blues rock band. Blues rock, kind of pub rock band, but all original music. And after 3 to 4 years of gigging, they've refined this set list into a debut album, which they are now releasing Friday night. So it's a self-titled debut album, Art of Dysfunction.
Yep.
I've heard some of the tracks. They had a listening party for it last weekend. And I got to say, I have super high expectations for the future of these guys. They give me like sort of like Baby Animals, The Angels type high energy rock and roll vibes. So Art of Dysfunction, Friday night at the Sterling Arms Hotel. They're launching their long-awaited debut album. So that's in Guildford at 7:30 p.m. for fans of blues rock, pub rock, party rock, definitely party rock. And they've also got the Ivory Lies and Satisfaction Guaranteed supporting. So, but one other band I did want to also mention for Friday night, there's actually quite a lot on Friday night, but I had to mention these two. So Friday night, we've also got a band called Pot Plant House Party. These guys are...
That's the cool name.
Oh, right. And like the music is just as cool and fun as the name. They sound how they sound. Pot Plant House Party, they're like a sort of upbeat, kind of like a party band in a way, I guess. They're kind of very accessible, sort of kind of like alternative pop rock, I guess you might say.
Yep.
So they're actually playing Mojo's Bar, North Fremantle, Friday night at 7:00 p.m. Pot Plant House Party also, their bass player is Mr. Matt Templeman, who is a producer as well as a bass player. He's actually a producer for a certain band that I've mentioned on here before called Voyager. So he's done Voyager.
A little known band.
Yeah. I think some of our fellow Perth music fans may have heard of Voyager. Matt is the bass player for Pot Plant, and he's also been producer for Voyager on the previous few albums. Matt is also currently recording my band's next two singles also. We've just spent 3 days, 3 of the last 4 days we've spent in studio with Matt recording our next two singles with my band. And
Primrose Path,
Primrose Path, that's the one. And I got to say, I haven't worked with Matt before, but I am just absolutely blown away by his skills at the desk and his production skills. So he operates at a studio in Fremantle called Hopping Mouse Studios. So for any musicians listening, Hopping Mouse Studios, I totally recommend you check it out. The setup and the gear and the acoustics, it's phenomenal. So Matt is producer but also bass player for Pot Plant House Party. So they're Friday night, Mojo's Bar Frio at 7:30 p.m.
All happening. We could talk for hours. Anything on the weekend? What's your pick for the weekend?
I'll try and get through it quickly because there's just too much. So Saturday night, we've got another touring artist. We have G Flip playing at the Astor Theatre, Mount Lawley, 7 p.m. So G Flip was originally from Melbourne, is now an LA-based producer, musician. So G Flip is blowing up also, touring through Australia at the moment. So Saturday night, we've got G Flip at the Astor Theatre. We've also got something that may appeal to the Heritage FM listeners again, the majority of them. We've got 80s Inc. So 80s Inc., a cover band doing all things 80s at the Charles Hotel, 8:00 p.m. Saturday. They've got a huge repertoire of 80s bands they tend to cover, everything from Blondie to Bon Jovi to The Pretenders, Talking Heads, etc. So 80s Inc., Charles Hotel, 8 p.m. Saturday if you want some more 80s. And then jumping forward real quick to Sunday, we have something I wanted to point out is a David Bowie tribute show at, again, Lyrics Underground at Lyric Lane, Maylands. So these guys are called the Mind Warp Pavilion All-Star Band. So they're putting on a David Bowie tribute show, which actually starts a little earlier, which is good for a Sunday, 5 p.m. Sunday at Lyrics Underground, Mayland. David Bowie tribute, where the band also actually does a little bit of in-between sort of joking and talking, and they actually play a game where they tell stories of how each of them has actually met David Bowie over the years, and the audience has to guess whether or not they're telling the truth. So a little bit of comedy as well as an awesome Bowie tribute night.
Yeah, can't go wrong with Bowie. It's all there, giglist.com.au, gigs and list. Taz, you are a superstar. Once again, if you want to see what Taz looks like, and his band is just pure awesome. They are heavy metal, but I love them. Primrose Path, check them out on the socials, and you can actually see the man in person rather than hear his voice. Taz, you are a superstar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm trying my best.
And we will chat again very, very soon. You enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Thank you very much. Chat to you soon.
Anytime. There you go. giglist.com.au. Gigs in a list for all 80s Workday continues. And a band, an Aussie rock band, Noiseworks, play right now the voice of your community. 107.3 HFM, 17 to 1.